Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Between Two Firms. I'm Tom Furr and today I'm joined by Margot Ravenscroft, who works at Amicus. And today we're going to talk about how one case can have a ripple effect across the entire justice system. Margot, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
What's your story? How did you get into this? What are you doing at Amicus?
Amicus is a really small UK-based charity, and we assist cases mainly in the US but with people who are facing the death penalty. We really started on the back of a case, Andrew Lee Jones's case. He was the pen friend to our founder, and she was writing to Andrew when his appeals had all run out. She rushed over to Louisiana to speak on his behalf. She was shocked and bewildered by the whole injustice of everything that had happened to him. He had a one-day trial. He was a black man and he had an all-white jury.
How did that story end?
He was the last person in Louisiana to be executed by the electric chair. And it's from that burning desire she came back to the UK and she basically started Amicus from then. We're a due process organisation. We're not actually, we're not an abolitionist movement. We believe that everybody has a right to a fair trial, and we see that in the capital system, that's just not happening.
So maybe we can go beyond the trial work. What other ways have you seen cases drive meaningful impact?
When you can demonstrate empirically with data that is meticulously collected what the issues with sentencing in the death penalty are, what is it that pushes it into the category of a capital case. What we find in these studies is it's not the worst of the worst cases. It's got more to do with racial disparities. It's got more to do with poverty. These studies really sort of lay bare a lot of the holes and the issues within the system and how the system works.
But you're not saying it's a broken system, right?
I'm not saying it's a broken system because it's a system that doesn't produce the result that we want from a justice system. So what we want is justice. What we want is the law to be applied to everybody in a fair and equal way. And that's just not what the system does.
Maybe we can talk a little bit about how I'm sure dealing with the amount of data that you have to deal with is daunting. How do you go about that? How do you go about thinking about it, structuring it?
A lot of what we do is look at social history and background of individuals, witnesses, etc. Because if you can imagine a death penalty case, we're looking at all the people who are involved in that. And so we've always dealt with a lot of data, but normally it's been in boxes of records that people have collected from courthouses. Now, obviously, it's a quicker process. And that's where e-discovery kind of software really comes into its own. We're taking the massive amount of disclosure and making it manageable so that we can create a case out of it. So for 300 cases, we've been looking at how the jury are questioned. And we've used the software to do that and pick up on these in quite nuanced ways of questioning. It has literally saved years of work.
You've talked about really how every day you're working with the death penalty. And I'm interested in how something that has such high stakes, the highest stakes, and is so emotionally involved, really fuels your work.
I don't think any of us really do completely detach from it because it's part of what we do, it's part of who we are. I don't think it's necessarily healthy to detach from that either because it reminds us of what we're doing. But I think everybody involved in this work, and personally as well, you become so invested because of that belief in justice, and you see the injustices and you see that you can do something about it, then that's something you're not going to let go of. I don't know who I would be without this kind of work. And I think that applies to so many people who do this work and work with Amicus.
So Margot, I want to say thank you for joining us today. Clearly the work you're doing and have been doing for 17 years is having such an impact on the justice system. And we really appreciate you coming to talk to us about some of these really tough topics. So thank you very much.
Appreciate you doing this and having me here.
You want to press the button to end the video? Go for it.
But nothing happens though.
No, you haven't.
So, like,